Imagine you are about to discover something that could completely transform your understanding of fasting, something that no one has ever explained in depth, truths that have been hidden for centuries. Jesus left us profound and revealing teachings about the act of fasting, but many of these details have been forgotten or left aside. And today, we're going to explore exactly what should not be done during a fast. They are 12 essential teachings that can make all the difference for those seeking true spiritual growth. You may be asking yourself, why should I watch every detail of this video? Well, did you know that a practice as powerful as fasting can actually be harmful if done wrong? Yes, some simple mistakes can compromise your entire intention and prevent you from achieving the desired results. In this video, we will unveil 12 common pitfalls and mistakes that Jesus warned us to avoid during fasting. Each of these guidelines has a profound purpose, and ignoring them is like trying to open a door without the correct key. You can try, but you will never gain complete access. So, get ready. Let's dive deep into teachings that few know about. You'll understand why these 12 points are so crucial for anyone who wants to fast correctly and achieve a true spiritual connection. If you like revealing content and want to explore even more deep topics like this, take the opportunity to leave your like and subscribe to the channel. Your support is what allows us to continue bringing these life-changing messages. Leave your like. It costs nothing and helps our channel to grow and reach more people with content that really matters. And remember, follow the video until the end, as each of these 12 points is important. If you miss any, you may be missing an essential lesson that Jesus wanted to teach us about fasting. After all, these instructions are more than just tips. They are true spiritual guidance for those looking to delve deeper and discover the real power of this ancient practice. So, stay with us and pay attention to every detail, because you are about to learn something that few people know about. Shall we go together? Imagine a ritual so powerful that it is capable of cleansing the body, elevating the spirit, and opening unknown spiritual doors. A sacred act practiced for thousands of years, recommended by religious leaders, saints, and even Jesus himself. Yes, we are talking about the fast. But is everything we know about fasting really the truth? There is much about this spiritual act that has been hidden, truths that few dare mention. Today, we will unravel this mystery and, together, discover the 12 things that Jesus warned about and that should never be done during a fast. Get ready, because you're about to hear something that will challenge what you thought you knew. Most people believe that fasting is just a time of food deprivation, something done to purify the body and soul. But what almost no one knows is that there are dangers, spiritual traps, and wrong practices that can make fasting not only ineffective, but also harmful. As you might already imagine, Jesus' words about fasting are not just about how to do it, but also about how to do it, know to do. Throughout this video, you will learn about Jesus' instructions and warnings, words that have been forgotten, hidden, perhaps because they are too challenging for modern times. First, before we reveal what never to do, it is important to understand fasting, in Jesus' view, was not simply physical abstinence. He spoke about an act of spiritual surrender, a time of deep connection with the divine. For Jesus, fasting was not a simple spiritual diet, but a transformation. It was something so sacred that he warned about the dangers of fasting the wrong way. So, let's dive into the 12 instructions, starting with the first, an orientation that seems simple, but which has a much greater spiritual weight than one might imagine. First thing you should never do, fast to show others. Jesus was very clear about this. He taught that if fasting was done to impress those around us, it would lose its entire purpose. According to him, anyone who fasted to show off would already be receiving their reward through the admiration of others, but not through connection with the divine. True fasting, which generates spiritual fruit, is done in silence, away from the eyes of the world. Many ignore this guidance and end up falling into the ego trap, fasting to show their dedication or their faith. Now, entering second instruction, Jesus warned that one should never fast in the midst of bitterness or resentment. That's right. Fasting requires a pure heart free from grudges. Imagine fasting as a seed planted in fertile soil. But if that soil is contaminated with resentment, it will not bear fruit. Jesus taught that true fasting was an act of peace, a way of opening oneself to divine love. So, fasting with a heart full of sorrows is like trying to swim in murky waters. You just drown in yourself. A third thing Jesus warned should never be done is fasting without a clear purpose. For Jesus, fasting always had a specific purpose, be it purification, spiritual strengthening, or preparation for a difficult time. When a person fasts without a purpose, they lose focus and the meaning of the act. It's like embarking on a journey without a destination. You don't know where you're going, and you probably won't even get anywhere. Therefore, Jesus encouraged us to set our intention before starting the fast. If your purpose is forgiveness, let all the energy of fasting be focused on that. We now move on to Alert Room, one of the most surprising. Never fast without prayer. Prayer is the key that opens the fasting portal to the divine. Jesus taught that fasting without prayer was just physical deprivation. Prayer, according to him, is the spiritual fuel that transforms fasting into a tool for connecting with God. Many make the mistake of just abstaining from food, but without the practice of prayer, fasting loses its spiritual essence. Jesus said that fasting and prayer are like two wings of a bird. Without one of them, he cannot fly. A fifth orientation is as powerful as it is necessary. Never make fasting an exchange for material blessings. Jesus was emphatic in teaching that fasting is not a bargaining chip. He knew that the true reward of fasting is spiritual, not material. Many people fall into the trap of thinking that by fasting they will receive some specific blessing, such as a job or material possession. But fasting, according to Jesus, is an act of surrender and humility, not bargaining. When we fast with a heart full of material expectations, our intention becomes contaminated, and instead of getting closer to God, we move away. A sixth thing Jesus taught should never be done during fasting is to ignore the body's signals. He warned us that although fasting is spiritual, the body also participates in the process. The body is a temple, and it must be respected. Therefore, if at any point the body sends signs of extreme weakness or discomfort, it is necessary to stop and understand these signs. Jesus was aware of the importance of the body in the spiritual journey, and he knew that ignoring physical signs could lead to serious consequences. No seventh alert, we find a profound teaching. Never fast with pride. Fasting is an act of humility, and Jesus warned us about the danger of letting it turn into an act of pride. When we fast with pride, believing we are more spiritual or better than others, we are undermining the purpose of fasting. This pride moves us away from God and brings us closer to our own ego. An eighth instruction, what Jesus left about fasting is, do not fast in times of celebration and joy. Jesus knew that fasting is a time of introspection and silence, not a time to be mixed with parties and celebrations. He said that there is a time for everything, and that the time for celebration is not the time for fasting. This teaching helps us understand that fasting must be respected in its own essence, without mixture. No ninth point. Jesus advised that we should never fast without an intention of internal change. Fasting, for him, was not just an act of deprivation, but an invitation to transformation. If we fast without seeking to transform ourselves, we are just depriving ourselves without purpose. Change must start from within, and fasting is a powerful tool for this, but only when done with that intention. We arrived at 10th point. Never fast while ignoring the needs of others. Jesus emphasized the importance of compassion during fasting. He said that while we fast, our heart should turn to others, helping and caring for them. No 11th alert, he said, do not fast in a rigid or inflexible way. Rigidity is the opposite of the spirit of fasting, which should be a time of peace and introspection. Jesus believed that fasting was a personal journey, and each person must find what works best for them. And finally, the 12th point, don't make fasting an act of self-punishment. Jesus knew that fasting is for elevating the spirit, not for punishing the body. This last point, never to make fasting a form of self-punishment, is a teaching that many ignore. Jesus deeply understood human nature and knew that fasting should be an act of love and respect for the body and spirit. He knew that instead of punishing ourselves for mistakes or failures, fasting should guide us to a path of self-compassion and understanding. After all, the very act of fasting is a way of opening the heart and mind to the divine, to the light that fills us and helps us grow. Now, you may be wondering, why so many teachings and restrictions? Why was Jesus so specific about what not to do while fasting? The answer lies in the greater purpose of this sacred act. Fasting is not just a way of depriving yourself, but a process of reconnection with God, of deep purification of the soul, and a preparation to face life's challenges with more faith and clarity. It's like a spiritual portal that can only be opened with a very specific key. And that key is true intention, a heart free from pride, a mind focused on love and compassion. Each of these 12 guidelines that Jesus left us about fasting is, in fact, a reminder that the spiritual path is much deeper than we imagine. It is not enough to simply follow the rules mechanically. Fasting is a practice that requires total alignment between the body, mind, and spirit. When done with humility, it becomes a powerful tool of transformation, a way of ascending to new levels of understanding and connection with the divine. So, what do you do with all these instructions? How to put into practice a true fast, which follows the teachings of Jesus? The answer begins with reflection. Before starting the fast, it is important to ask yourself, what is my intention? Am I looking for an internal transformation? Am I preparing for something important? Am I looking for peace? By answering these questions honestly, you will be aligning your purpose with what Jesus taught us. Remember that fasting is not an isolated practice, but part of a broader spiritual journey. And to conclude, one last secret about fasting that Jesus taught us indirectly. True transformation happens from the inside out. Fasting, when done sincerely, transforms not only the days you go without food, but your understanding of life, your own faith, and the purpose of being here. It creates deep roots that strengthen your soul and, over time, begin to bear fruit, bringing peace, clarity, and strength. So the next time you think about fasting, remember these 12 teachings. Remember that each of them is not a rule to limit you, but an invitation for your fast to be true, so that it becomes a path of self-knowledge and encounter with the divine. After all, fasting is more than an act of restriction. He is a bridge between the earthly and the sacred, and this bridge can only be crossed with a clean heart, a serene mind, and pure intention. Prepare yourself, because true fasting is not for the weak, but for those who seek the truth in its essence. Now that you know the secrets, it's up to you to decide. Are you ready to walk this path? So, after exploring these profound teachings about fasting, I hope you discovered something truly transformative. Jesus made it clear that fasting is more than a simple practice of abstinence. It is a nuanced spiritual journey. And avoiding these 12 mistakes, it is essential for this practice to have the true effect you are looking for. By understanding what not to do, you are increasingly closer to experiencing fasting as a path to connection and growth. If this content made sense to you and brought new insights, take the opportunity to leave the like. This simple gesture helps the channel grow and reach more people who can also benefit from these messages. And don't stop here. Share this video with your friends and family. After all, who wouldn't want to learn more about such a powerful practice and discover how to apply it the right way? And subscribe to the channel to follow the next videos. We have much more to explore about spiritual themes, biblical teachings, and reflections that can enrich your journey. Each video is a new opportunity to learn and grow. So, stick around and get ready for more content like this. See you in the next video. And remember, every discovery is better when shared. Until then,